All right. Now, um, and I have some evil looking like possum on here. Don't be part of the problem, be the whole problem. I thought that one was pretty funny. Okay. So here's where we are. All right. We have 4 official grades in Canvas for Q2 so far. Okay. So let's make sure that you know what you should be looking for. All right. So there were 2 quizzes. One of them is called the 928 exit ticket, and one's called Unit 2 Quiz 1 that was 10-5. Okay. Then there was weekly review number 1 and number 2. Okay. Now, there were 1 or 2 of you that joined the class after that, but everybody else, that's the 4 grades that should be in there. If you join later, I put in a exempt, but for most of y'all, there's 4 zeros in if you haven't done that, or zeros for the parts you haven't done. And so you need to make sure you're getting with that. Okay. Um, 2, I've had a few of you guys that like to go through and do, say, the quiz part without doing the practice beforehand, and that does not work well. Okay. And so I've locked it to where you got to go one day at a time on at least turning stuff in. I got you, Gina. All right. So and again, remember too that I only grade the quizzes once I can see the work paper. All right. That's just always been my policy because this is math. That's how math needs to be done. I've been pretty clear on this. You need to be checking your grade book. You do not want to get further behind on this. I will say, pretty good news for Monday. There was like 17 people got their work already in, and 16 of them were right, basically, with only like 1 or 2 errors, which is good. I'm pretty pleased with that. A little behind on yesterday, only 10 or 11 so far out of about say 28 people are engaged in the class so far. So that's we're getting there, but just knowing that we still got a ways to go. All right, so today we're still kind of working on percents, but what we're working on here is some of the multiple representation stuff that has to do with like parts and wholes. So far, I've been avoiding the really tricky ones where it gives you one part and then asks for the other part. Now is where I start bringing those guys in. So here's where, if you have been doing it the way I've been teaching it, you're going to be in pretty good shape here. If you've been kind of, I've been telling you, hey, you better make sure you do this. A lot of times, I might have some concerns for you here. Okay. All right. So today's goals are recognizing how tape diagrams and other diagrams can be used to represent part whole ratio problems, and then creating ratio boxes for part whole problems, and then using them to solve problems. Okay. So I'm telling you that this is a particular way that I've found that is very useful on this, and I really want you to master this way. And by the way, the quiz on this Friday is going to have. Okay, I got you, Mary. I assumed that you always are done with stuff on time, so I assume there must have been a problem. Okay, Gina, I am not mad at you. I don't know why I would be mad at you at all. All right. So so I will also point out to you that the Friday quiz this week is going to have all the stuff from this unit on it. All right, so I want us to start with this warm-up question. All right, and I at some point might move these kind of things to a Nearpod or something for answers, but I'm with me needing to teach 3 classes, I'm not been able to kind of design some of this stuff yet. All right, so I want you to type in your answer when you get it. Mr. Carter had 14 and a half cups of popcorn. Um, and and I gave some to 10 people, including myself, so a total of 10. How much popcorn did each person get? All right. How much did each person get? All right, so I got Sage's answer. For some reason, my brain just forgot what it is. All right, so I've got. Give me your answer when you got it. Oh, you need to check your answer. Sage is right. You're not right. Yeah. All right. So think about what we're doing here. We have a certain amount of popcorn, right? All this popcorn, right? 14 and a half, and we're splitting it up among 10 people. So if we're splitting it up, we are splitting it up, scooping it out. Okay. So I'm wanting to work with you on knowing which thing to do there. So Isla, you have the right whole number, but not the right fraction. Maybe you typed in the fraction wrong. August, it's not subtraction. So what we need to be doing here is division. Okay. So I want to check to make sure you have the order of it right. Make sure that you see what we're dividing is the amount of popcorn. We are dividing up popcorn, right? Not people. So you got to make sure you know what you're dividing up. No, oh, okay, cool. It's only 10. It includes me, so I was dividing by 10. Is that what you did? You divided by 11? Okay. Yeah. I get you. I tried to make it where people could tell that it was going to be, that's the wording. All right, give me your answer, please. I would like to get to some Quizlet Live at the end. If I'm having to wait a long time on people, then that kind of slows us up. Okay. All right, Aaliyah, what's your question? Yes, Aaliyah.
So when doing it, do we like break it up into parts, or do we just like do the whole thing?
Okay. So what you're doing here is you need to remember that we have let's see, Shelby, you're right. You just did it as a decimal there. Gina, there's no common factors on this one at all. All right.
Never mind, I got it.
All right. Chloe, that's right. All right. So the first thing you should have done here, all right, maybe you need a little reminder, is you should have done this and made that an improper fraction. Okay. See what you're getting there. I'm telling you when you're right. So if you've Jameson, you might be kind of close-ish, but you made a mistake somewhere. Charlie, you got to have a improper fraction here. Yeah. All right. So we have all right. We obviously still need to do some of these. Yeah, because we're like we're struggling here. All right. So that's 29. Yeah, Mary, 29 over 2, right? Divided by 10 over 1. Okay. Then we keep 29 over 2. We change to multiplication, and then we flip to 1/10. Okay. So what we're doing here is we made it an improper fraction, right? Then we multiply by the reciprocal. And then when we multiply fractions, we just multiply across, which is 29 over 10. All right. Sorry, over 20. My bad. I knew that looked wrong. Which, when we divide 20 into 29, gives us 1 and 9 over 20. Okay. All right. So let's look at that one. All right. Tell me what questions you have, or if you need to ask me one, I'll unmute you if you need to ask me something. Okay. Because I won't give us another one here because that was not good. No bueno. All right. What do you see? What did you do wrong? What questions do you have? Look, this is math. If you can't give me any feedback, I can't help you. It's not okay to sit on the other side of the computer and not know what's going on. Okay, so Charlie, you forgot to flip it over there. If you tell me what you did, or you can like send me a little screenshot of what yours looked like or something. Okay. So Christopher, you forgot the KCF. Okay, cool. All right, we've figured that out. All right. Can you tell me what you did wrong? Then that means we're ready to get one right on that. Okay. So August, when you divide your fractions here, uh, so Gina, you just need to add your one there. All right. So okay, I got you. So Christopher, when you got you see how I got the 20 on the bottom there? Okay. All right. So August, look at my steps right there and see if you can follow those. I'm gonna give you another one. Okay. All right. So let's pretend on the next one that let's make it a little easier. I only have 3.5 cups of popcorn, and I'm gonna split it among I don't know, 4 people, including me. So it's just divided by 4. Okay. So here's the problem I want you to do. Let's do this one. Follow that example. That first one did not go great. So let's go again. All right. I'm not, I want us to figure it out. All right. So follow my example. Get this one right. We got a certain amount we need to get done today. And I do want to make sure I go back over this. Charlie, that's right. Good job. All right. Mary, that was the first one. Yeah, that was the first one. Second one, that's not the answer. If you were getting me to check your first answer, that's cool. That's right. Yeah, I'm doing that second one now because I didn't like that people were struggling with the first one, so I wanted to do a second one. Good job, Shelby. All right. I wanted to see at least most people on the right track on this. And then if people need some more help on it, then they'll know they need to come get help from me later. Okay. And because we keep having people join the class, I need to keep going back over things we've already done. Chloe, what'd you get? Okay. Gina, you're right. Good job. Very good. So you make it an improper fraction, right? Make them improper fractions, then keep, change, flip. All right. Let me hear from you. Good job, Chloe. Wyatt, what's going on? What you got, man? Sage, you're right. Rylan, what you got? Isla, Emma, what you got? Okay, gotcha. I'll wait a few more seconds. Got it. Sometimes sitting on my end, it feels like I'm waiting forever. All right, Mary, good job. Yeah. I forget that um yeah. So Gina, I'm about to fix that. And I think I'm about to figure out how to fix that. So Rylan, that was right on the first one. If you reduce the fraction, it would have been 9/20ths. I'm not exactly sure how you got that. So look at mine right there. Yeah, I mean, Gina, I'm gonna get it where it works. Um, okay, so Emma, I'm not sure how you got that one. Did you have, Emma, I'm typing you back here. Um, did you have this? Then KCF. All right, so Christopher, did you have, so your next step Okay, you see what I'm saying there? Christopher, look at your next step written down should be this right here. All right, if y'all tell me what you're getting, then I can tell you what you're doing wrong. Okay, if you don't do that, I can't fix that. All right, about 10 more seconds for you to give me your what you're looking at. Then I'm gonna move on, and I'm either assuming you know what's going on or you're sleeping, which is not good. No. All right, I'm about to go over it here. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's it, Gina. Good job. Perfect. So Aaliyah, that is correct. However, that's the decimal, and I want the fraction. Okay. All right. So here's what we got. All right. So 3 1/2 becomes 7/2, right? 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Divide by 4/1. Okay. Now we need to change flip. We keep 7/2. We change to multiplication, and then we flip to 1/4. Okay. 7 times 1 is 7. 2 times 4 is 8. So our answer is 7/8. Okay. All right. So what questions do you have there? All right. Let's see. I saw a hand. Whose hand? Where did that hand go? I saw a hand. Where did it go? All right. What questions do you have here? All right. So we'll keep doing more of those. Okay. But just know that multiplying and dividing mixed numbers and adding, subtracting mixed numbers, that's some things we've already done, and we've got to keep working on this. All right. So now we've been working on part to part ratios and part to whole. Now, all right, we're going to work on, you got different parts and the whole. Okay. So we're going to work on strategies for solving those. All right. So a tape diagram. So if we got a problem, and this one's kind of weird, so just follow with me here. This is not the way I usually think about these, but sometimes they show them this way. So here's a problem. A green paint uses 3 parts of yellow for 5 parts of blue. How much of each would be used for 80 gallons of paint? Okay, so when they give you one like this, right, and you see these little weird boxes, okay, what they're doing here is that when it says 3 parts yellow, 3 parts, 3 parts, 3 parts, right? Or 1, 2, 3 parts right here. Then 5 parts blue. So see the 3 parts right here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then the 5 parts blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So that's all the little squares for the ratio. Then you divide by the total by how many squares there are. So in other words, it says there's 80 gallons of paint here. You got to watch this carefully. Okay, this is where this will make sense. All right, we have 8 total little squares, 3 yellow and 5 blue. So the 80 gallons of paint divided by the 8 little squares there are mean there's 10 gallons in each little square. Okay, so that's the reason there's a 10 in the little squares. So take a minute and look at that. See if you understand where those numbers came from. All right. So basically, a tape diagram here is where they take the number of little rectangles that represent the quantities in a ratio. Okay. So this one shows 30 gallons of yellow paint for 50 gallons of blue paint. So, for example, if there was, let's say that this number had been 40 right here instead. Okay. Then what that means is that there would have been 40 gallons of paint divided by the 8 little squares. That means there's 5 in each square, like this. Okay. Then that would tell us that there are 5 times 5, 25 gallons of blue. 3 times 5, 15 gallons of yellow. Okay. So that's the way, if you have the total, okay. So if you have the total and the ratio, right? Some people will get it this way, some people won't. This is the way that confuses the crap out of me. Okay. So I don't ever use this way. But in case you see one like this, what it's saying is, all right, what it's saying here is that you have a ratio of 3 to 5. Notice that means 3 little yellow boxes, 5 blue. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to leave it for a second here. Okay. So, and I do post the slides later too. So what it's saying here is we have 3 yellow parts. See the 3 boxes, 5 blue parts. Since they told us 80 gallons of paint, we could find out how much there is of each one by drawing the little boxes and filling them in. All right. Again, so curious, how many of you like that makes sense to you and how many of you it doesn't? Okay. If you ask me, I'm in the, so Gina, is that it doesn't make sense or it does make sense to you? Okay. To me, it doesn't make sense. Some people that makes sense to. Okay. And so I'm wanting to show you a bunch of different ways that is taught. This way, yeah, this way doesn't make sense to me. Okay. But I wanted to at least show it to you so that if you see one on like a map test or a SC Ready, you've seen some like that. So you're like, okay, I see 3 yellow boxes and 5 blue boxes. Again, if you want to use it to show some things like that, cool. That's generally not my way. Okay. All right. So here we go. We are going to do one like this. Okay. So a recipe for maroon paint, which is between, red and blue, says mix 5 milliliters of red with 3 milliliters of blue. Okay. So Gina, I've got the slides posted. So I'm just going to kind of draw the boxes here and then we can kind of look back at them later. Okay. So here I'm going to draw us, so 5 milliliters of red paint and 3 milliliters of blue. So what we want to do is we want to draw, actually, you know what? Why am I not just drawing red boxes here? So draw yourself 5 red boxes. Actually, I should make them connect. 5 red boxes. Okay. And then I'm going to draw 3 blue boxes. Okay. So everybody see that we currently are just writing down that ratio. So we have 5 red boxes and 3 blue boxes. Notice that total we have, that makes 8 boxes, right? Total. Okay. Now, the recipe for maroon paint says mix 5 milliliters of red with 3 milliliters of blue. So if each cube, each little box represents 2, how much of each color paint is there? So now I'm going to put in 2s in all of my little boxes based on what it says here. I see what I'm doing there. Okay. Now, from there, we should be able to tell how much of each color paint there is. So look at the boxes, see if that makes sense. Okay. So now we have 5 little red boxes with 2 in there. So go ahead and write it down, see if you get what I'm getting. That means that's how much red we got. Okay. Blue, we have 2 in each one. That's how much blue we have. Okay. Now, the maroon just means how much of it, yeah, that's a 6. How much of it when it's added together? Well, that's 8 times 2. So that's going to be 16. You add them together. Okay. Everybody kind of see how that example makes sense? Okay. Now, let's go back and it says, suppose each cube is 5 milliliters. Now, see if you can tell me this. Okay. So we're going to change and say each cube is 5 milliliters this time. Okay. So it's a 5 instead of a 2. Okay. So if it's 5 here, now you write down how much red and how much blue if it was 5 instead. Okay, so now if you got it, you can type it in just to make sure you're on the right track while I'm waiting on people. Okay. No, not other way, Gina. This is where you got to be careful with which one's which. So yeah, so Mary, you're right for the total there for the maroon, as long as you got your good job, Clay. All right, as long as you got your blue and your red in the right amounts. Yeah, that's right, Shelby. Good. You want to check yourself, just type it in, make sure you're getting it. Yes, Gina, that's right. Good. Good, Christopher. All right, good Sage. Okay. Yep, good Christopher. All right, waiting. Anybody else want me to check yours there? Sage, that's right. Okay, so you got 5 5s, so that's 25 reds, right? 5 times 5. Good, Charlie. All right, good, Mary. Then 15 blues, which makes, you add them up, that's 40 total. Okay. Now, let's think about this. Suppose that we needed 80 maroon. Okay, now let's go back. Now, here's where it's a little more complicated. If we had needed 80 maroon and there's 8 boxes, here's the trick. It says we need 80 maroon. So what number do we need to write in each box? 80 maroon, 8 boxes. Yes, Gina, very good. So write that in each box. Okay, 80 maroon we need. There's 8 boxes. To get there, we need, yes, Mary, good. That's what you need to write in each box. Now, based on this question, you need to write that, yes, Charlie. Write that in each box. Good, Christopher. Okay, so write that in each box, and you should be able to get those 2 blanks. Yes, Sean, good. So you put a 10 in each box. Why? Because you have 80 and you need to divide it by the 8 boxes. Same thing we were just doing with the popcorn earlier, right? Like this, right? Okay, so now we should be able to see, okay, for red, 5 times 10. For blue, we have 3 times 10. So then that adds up to 80. Okay, so that's kind of modeling out how we're dividing it up that way. Okay, it's a way of breaking down some ratio and proportion type problems. Okay, any questions on that? Now, you're going to be able to solve quite a bit. So I'll just look at what I got there. All right, you can solve quite a few problems like this with these sort of tape diagrams. Okay, while these are not my favorite, I wanted to make sure I showed it to you because I know some of y'all, your learning style that's going to connect with. So I want to make sure that I taught it to you that way. Okay. Now, I think I already did that. Okay. Now, here's the same example right here. All right. So if we take right here, the ratio is 5 to 3, right? This is blue to red, right? So then that makes, in the ratio, that's 8 total, right? Okay. Can't quite see it right now, Gina. I'll look at that one later. Okay. Now, what we got here then is if the total is 80, right? All right. I want you to notice this right here. If this total is 80 right here, right? Like I just told you earlier, then what you should notice here is this. This is how many times? That's times 10, right? See it? So from 8 to 80 is times 10. Therefore, we do 3 times 10 is 30, and 5 times 10 is 50. So if you have the total and you see that the total is 10 times as much, then you do times 10. Okay, so this is a different way of modeling that. Okay, questions on that one? All right, now, here's the way I like to do this. All right, and you probably will see why in just a minute. So I want you to write down the way, this is my preferred way of doing these. Okay, so the recipe says red to blue and how much maroon, right? How much paint is made. We're just going to say total paint. Okay. So now here's what we got. We have red and we have blue. But this time we have red, blue, and maroon, or I'm just going to put total paint. Okay. This should make sense to you. This is not complicated. Okay. So if we have 5 red and we have 3 blue, then that means we have 8 total, right? Because we add those up, part, whole. Okay. Now, how much paint is made if you use 21 blue? Okay, so look at this question right here. 21 blue. Okay, there should be no mystery in where to put that 21, because 21 blue on the next line needs to go right here. Why? Because that's the blue line, right? Now notice, I asked you for how much total. Now, here's what I want you to see. How do we get from 3 to 21? Well, that's times 7, right? So if I do times 7 there, if I want to know how much total paint, I do times 7, and that would be 56 milliliters. So the question here, the answer would be 56. Okay, which also means that this right here would be 35, but I didn't ask for that one. Okay, any questions on that? Now, let's say there was a second part of the question that says, how much red and blue would I use to make 160 milliliters of paint? Okay, now I'm going to go back to the original amount here. So remember, my ratio here is 5 to 3 with a total of 8. Okay, so watch this one right here. We're going to have 160 milliliters of paint. That is a total, 160. Okay, now let's go back from here. How are we getting from 8 to 160? It's times 20. Now, what if you're like, crap, I don't know. Well, how are you going to find what it's times? You divide 8 into 160, and you get 20. That tells you that this is times 20 right here. Okay, same way we've been doing it, it's just we got different things going on. So if this is times 20, then I do this times 20, right? 3 times 20 is 60. And then here, times 20, 5 times 20 is 100. So I would have 100 red, 60 blue, and 160 total. Okay, so notice what we did there. Okay, what questions do you have on that? So we used the ratio that we had, the 8 total, and asked for 160. That's where we put this down here. This is what I call ratio boxes. Okay. Yes, Christopher.
So I have a question about something.
Yep.
So what if I use 3 numbers? Like, what would you do with like red, blue, or like purple or pink or something?
Okay. Yeah. So like if there were 3 parts, that's the reason I like this, Christopher, is that if they gave us like 4 colors, right? And it said there's 3 of this one and 5 of this one and 6 of this one and 2 of this one, then you could still make a total that way on the bottom. You see what I'm saying? And then it would still work for you that way. That's the reason I like this way so much, is because that gives you a method if I added more colors up here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Whereas I think some of the other methods start to fail you when you have a bunch of different parts. Okay. All right. That's the reason I like this one a lot. Okay. All right. All right. Now, I know. All right. So next one here, at the kennel, the ratio of cats to dogs is 4 to 5 if there are 27 animals at all. Okay. So there's different ways that they'll say it. Okay. The value of each of the rectangles. Okay. So this part right here for A, we have to think through this. First of all, the first piece of information we need is how many little boxes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's these two added together, right? If there's 27 animals, right? 27 animals total divided by 9 boxes means that each box has 3, right? So that's the way I showed you earlier. Okay. Now, you can get the dogs and the cats from here. All right. So go ahead and tell me the dogs and cats. And I'm going to erase that. In the chat, you can tell me how many cats and dogs there are. But then I want you to write down the way that I'm doing it right here too. Okay. All right. And I pointed out a note for you to notice at the bottom here if you're not catching this. So here I've got dogs, cats, and total. Okay. I just put the letter because as long as you have the letter and they're not the same letter, you're good. Okay. So the ratio here is 4. Oops, I put them backwards. Okay. And some of y'all have ran into that on a quiz where that is a major problem for you if you don't get them in the right order. 4 cats, 5 dogs. Okay. 4 cats, 5 dogs is 9 total, right? Which is also the same number of boxes. If I say there's 27 total animals, okay, then I see that's times 3, which is also the number we put in the little box there. Okay. So how many dogs are there? Well, there's times 3. So it's 15 dogs. Cats times 3, 12 cats. Right? So the reason I like a ratio box method to me, though, is if I gave you how many dogs are there if there are 44 cats? All right, if I put 44 cats right here, well, now you should immediately see going from my ratio, that's times 11. So then my dogs would be 55 because it's times 11. Okay, so you're able to go back to that ratio to find any new information. Okay, same thing with like if we're finding a unit rating and then going from there. Okay, that's the reason I like this model is it works for everything we've been doing. Okay, all right, I think yeah, we're going to be a bit of a while here. So I need us to stay for this. If after we're done with these, I will have an optional Quizlet Live, but I do want us to all get through these parts. Okay, I'm going to do just ratio boxes on these. Okay, and you just type me whatever questions you're having as we're going here. Otherwise, just follow me on these, and then on the practice today, you'll be able to kind of go through them together go through them yourself. So 4 parts oil for 3 parts vinegar. How much oil should you use for 28 teaspoons of dressing? So that's the total. Okay, so notice that 28 is a total or a whole, right? Part, whole. Here, our parts are oil, vinegar, and then total or all the salad dressing. Okay. All right. Now, so the reason that this one's a complicated question is because it gives us 4 oil, 3 vinegar. So what we really need here is oil over total. But the tricky part is that a lot of times people won't have the right stuff written down for their ratio because they haven't outlined both parts. So 4 oil, 3 vinegar, that makes 7 total. Where did I get the 7 from? 4 parts oil, 3 parts vinegar. You add up those ratios. Okay. 28 teaspoons of dressing. Where does that go? Well, that's the total amount of dressing. It's not oil or vinegar. So what you'll notice here is on this problem, we actually don't need the vinegar part. So you could actually mark through that because we don't need it. So 7 times 4 is 28. Therefore, our oil we need to do times 4. So that's going to be 16 parts or 16 parts of oil. Okay. Any questions on that? Like, where did you get such and such? Or tell me why that is right there. So I'm telling you, if you are not careful and you're set up here, you will totally set up the wrong ratio and get the wrong thing. All right. I've seen this 1,000 times. Okay. So if you're careful with the wording, you'll get these. These are the ones where, Gina, remember I was talking to you last night about, like, if we're not careful with the wording, we'll miss some things. This is where I'm talking about here, right? Get your wording down. Y'all are going to be fine on this. It's not hard, but if you don't put your wording down, you're going to mess up. Okay. All right. So next one. Andre and Han are moving boxes. Andre can move 4 boxes every hour. Han can move 5 every hour. How long will it take to move them to move 72 boxes? Okay, so here we have Andre, we have Han, right? The boxes, both of them can move. So it's not just Andre to Han, though, because we're looking for how many total boxes, part, whole. All right, so 4 boxes for Andre, 5 for Han. That means between them, that's 9 total. So how long will it take them to move all 72 boxes? Well, that's a total. Okay, now, how long will it take them to do that? Well, that's an interesting question, because what it's asking for here is, this is 1 hour right here, right? So the way we're going to find this one is actually right here. Do you see that the answer to this question on this ratio box is that? You're right, Jameson. That's exactly right. Because it's the fact that it's times 8. It didn't ask us if how many Han would move, which was 40, or how many Andre can move, which is 32. It asks us how long it would take. You see? So this problem, this method right here, actually gives us an easy way of also finding how many times, if this is an hour, how many hours it takes. Okay? All right, questions on that one? See where we got the 8 from? Okay. All right. Last month, there were 4 sunny days for every rainy day. Okay, and I put this one on here for a particular reason. There's a number missing here that you need. Notice 4 sunny days for every rainy day. How many rainy days is that? That is 1 rainy day. So when it says for every or for each, that means for 1. Okay, so there were 30 days in the month. How many days were rainy? So for every means for every 1. So here we have sunny, rainy, total. Okay, 4 sunny, 1 rainy. So that means 5 total in our ratio. Okay, so now we're looking for how many rainy days. So we have 30 total days. Okay. Now, as I said on my note here, once we have it set up this way, we're looking for rainy. So we don't need the sunny. Okay. 5 times 6 is 30. 1 times 6 is 6. So 6 rainy days. Okay. 6 rainy. Right. And from that too, we could go, well, how many days is it going to be to have, I don't know, 18 rainy days? Well, you could get that by putting the total and then going back to the ratio, or going from the 6. You can do all kinds of things as long as you keep the ratios the same. Okay. All right. I think I got one more. Yes. I wanted to do one showing you how this applies to percents also. Okay. Oh, 2. Sorry, Clint. All right. Are they both percent? Yes, they are. Okay. Because I wanted to do a couple of percents. All right. The Tigers won 8 and lost 2. What percent of their games did they lose? So we have wins, losses, and total. The T is for total. We're not playing communist games, so there's no ties. Okay. So 8 wins, 2 losses. That means 10 total. Okay. Now, I wanted to make sure I showed you this because this one doesn't give you another piece of information. But you should know there's a number that goes right here. So go ahead and write the number that goes right here. This is a percent problem. Okay. So here you need to write percent is a ratio out of 100. So it's times 10 right there. So we don't need the wins. I actually asked for losses. Okay. So we don't need the wins. So therefore, we know that there's 20% losses because 80% wins, but we didn't need that. Okay. All right. Makes sense? Again, this is a long lesson. This is a lot we needed to learn here. All right. Because the last time I have you till next Monday. All right. I'm a Georgia fan, so apologies if you don't like Georgia. All right. Carson Beck completed 17 out of 20 passes. What percent of his passes were incomplete? So on this one, I told you which parts we have. We have complete and we have incomplete passes. Okay. But the out of 20 is a total of 20 passes. So he completed 17 out of 20. Okay. Now, on this one, we can find a percent for complete without doing this box, but you can do the box even if it said complete. Okay. That's again why I like the box. It works for lots of things. Now, how did I know that there were 3 incomplete? Because 20 total minus 17 complete gives me 3 incomplete. So what percent of his passes were incomplete? Well, we're looking for percent, which is a ratio out of 100. 20 times 5 is 100. We're looking for his incomplete ones, not his complete. So that would be 15%. All right. And oh, yeah, I did want to go over that one because I have one like that on a quiz on Friday. Okay. All right. So that's 15%. All right. All right. Now, today we got more part wholes. You need to make sure you put ratio boxes. I understand some of y'all will like the other way, but I want to see the ratio boxes because there's certain types that I think are very helpful that way. 2, I've got a Quizlet link that is going to be very useful in memorizing the common fractions, decimals, and percents. Please use that. Okay. And then the quiz Friday is on progress learning, but the place to turn in your work on Canvas will only unlock when you've turned in the practice for the week. Okay. Now, I wanted to show you this one just really quickly, and then I'm going to offer a Quizlet Live if you want one. I know we're running late. So there's one like this one on the quiz on Friday, just with different numbers. Okay. So I want to make sure you see this. Vince ate 3 cookies. These cookies represent 25% of the cookies Vince's mom baked. So, what is the total number of cookies Vince's mom baked? Tell me your answer in the chat, and I'm going to kind of get our Quizlet Live rolling while I'm waiting on y'all. Okay? Tell me your answer to this in the chat. How many cookies did Vince's mom bake? You're right, Chloe. That's good. So tell me as soon as you got it, and then I'm going to pull us up a Quizlet Live here to work on our common fraction, decimal, and percents. Well, you need to log into Quizlet Live here. Rylan, you're right. All right. I know we're going long today, but I would like good Christopher, good Shelby. Very good. So you just got to think about how many good Isla, how many times you need to go to get to that. So if you'll notice here, 25% to 100% is times that. Mary, look at what I just did right there. See how many times I did there. Good, Jameson. That's it. Good. Yeah, it is. Yeah, good. So therefore, the answer would be good, Sage. All right, Curly, look at what I said. It's times right here. Jameson, I would really like you to because, frankly, these are the times we have some good kind of stuff to do. All right. So unless you literally have to be at social studies target time, then Isla, you were right. Mary, look at what I got right here. So that's times 4. So just do that on the top. See it right there. So I'm not gonna make you, but I would if I was you. Yes, that's good. Okay. I'm gonna switch over my sharing here. All right. Continue please to type in your answers. I would like to play a couple of quick rounds just because what I'm doing here, I don't really consider extra. It's something we need, frankly, more time to do than we normally have. Okay, so get logged in on this one right here. Okay, so correct answer on that one, if you haven't got it yet, is see that this is times 4. So that means that she made 12 cookies. If you ate half or 50% would have been 6. This would have been 9. Okay. All right. So let's get, again, I prefer that you get on here just because I want you to practice some of these flashcards, and this is a good way to do it real quick. If you have to leave for some reason, fine. Otherwise, I would like for you to stay for about 5 or 6 minutes. Okay. Because if you were at your local middle school, you would have more in-class time than you have here. All right, so Chloe's in. See if anybody else is going to get in. Yes, Leah.
Do I have to join? My head hurt.
That's fine. If your head's hurting, that's different.
Okay.
All right. So the code is MDLG87. I'll post it right there. Post it in the chat right there. This is also the deck that I was telling y'all I wanted y'all to memorize. Okay? I just want to practice the deck for you guys right now. Gina, go ahead and do it, even if you don't. All right, be good for you. Get sharp on this. All right. All right, either join or you can leave class. Okay, I don't want an in between there. Okay. If you're still in class, I'm expecting you're joining. All right, this takes like 1 minute. So what's your problem, Charlie? Invalid code. I don't know how that would be invalid code. You got something you could scan that QR? Riley. All right, so I'm gonna start the first round here, and then by the time when I get through with one, it'll let me add new people real quick. Okay. All right, here we go. So keep trying to join. I'll get you in next go round. So it's just a quick like fractions, decimal percent, all the really quickly. Yeah, it's your choice, Mary. Just these are ones you need to memorize when we're together. Got you, Deshaun. These are ones that when you get good at them, it'll take you like literally 45 seconds to get all these right. whoever the bison is seems to be get. Oh, no, they just missed it. What did you say? All right, leaders at 5. All right, Wolves getting in there. Hey, Wolves. Yay. Go Wolves. Don't mess. Yay. Alright. So thanks. Alright, Riley, good job. Alright. I'm gonna do one more round in case some people got in. Alright. Ready? Alright, last round. One more. And speed. Funny time. Got a question. Alright, here goes. Last one. What do you better know? Alright. Gotta see whose name is whose. Yeah, I got it on there. Alright, bison at 4. Again, these are ones that you totally need to learn. Ooh, got some misses there. All right, 3. Lead is 7, oxen. All right, oxen. Oxen at 10. Oh no, oxen with a mess at 11. All right, got 2 at 8. 9. And for chameleons. All right, chameleons. Who got that one? That was Rylan again. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye. Y'all have a good day.